It was 1933 when a young journalist named Dorothy moved to New York City with her 6-year-old daughter. There they would have a place to live thanks to a family member, but they very quickly learned that many others were not so lucky.
Stay close. Why is she crying? They've been evicted, sweetheart. They don't have an Uncle John and Aunt Tessa to stay with like we do.
What are you people looking at? Move along!
Irish, Italian, Polish, Russian, Jew, Catholic.
Immigrant families from all over the world had been able to find work and begin to build new lives for themselves in American cities like New York. But after the stock market crash of 1929, those jobs began to disappear. By 1933, 1 New Yorker out of 3 was out of work. And so, in the city that Dorothy found herself in, there was very little housing, even less food, and almost no medical care.
They are dying here every hour. The public hospitals are jammed. Most are afraid to go anyway. Few ever come back alive.
Dorothy had been supporting herself by writing about gardening for the newspapers. But now she began to ask herself, what if I wrote about this? Could it make a difference?
Hello?
Wait.
What did she say?
He's dead. Huerto. Maybe your story will help.
But she soon discovered that writing about the problem simply wasn't enough.
Parents didn't have any money. The hospital wouldn't take them.
Came back to try and make a difference, Mike. Do something. But now I don't know what. Don't know what to do. There's misery, poverty. Where do you start?
I'm gonna have to owe you $1, okay?
Good Lord provides.
Good Lord could care less.
Lord, you've got to tell me what you want. What I'm supposed to do. I write, but that's not enough. I've got to do. But what? I don't know. Please show me how. Please.
Dorothy believed that once she made people aware of the problems, they would take action and try to solve them. Now she knew that this would never be enough. But then she encountered a French writer, a man named Peter Morin.
Peter.
And he had a plan.
Peter, who are all these people?
They are hungry, they need to eat.
All of them?
But of course, it is time for a program of action. We must organize roundtable discussions for the clarification and stimulation of thought. We must create houses of hospitality to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and house the homeless.
Well, that's very impressive, Peter, but how do you plan on accomplishing all that?
I am not going to. You are.
And so a journalist named Dorothy Day, together with her 6-year-old daughter and a French theologian, established a place where poor and hungry people could always go to find food. They called it a house of hospitality, and this was the beginning of what would be called the Catholic worker movement. Today, the movement operates hundreds of these houses of hospitality in cities all over the world, including San Jose, California.
So Casa de Clara is a house of hospitality for women and children. The sense of community in the house is really important. All of our guests and the Catholic workers get together every evening for our communal meal.
They help to give a feeling of stability.
We try to build that sense of community in addition to some of the other activities, the mass and the prayer groups. We'll also do community events and just fun things like a day at the beach or a barbecue.
The only way that this can work is if it has the support of people from the surrounding community.
While I was living here, there were people who committed on a regular basis to coming either once a week or once a month to provide meals.
That strong support from the community was dealt a severe blow during the COVID pandemic, and Casa de Clara had to close its doors for a while. When the quarantine ended, we discovered that the casa had been vandalized and was badly in need of repair. But with the help of a crew of volunteers from around the community, we were able to get most of the damage repaired and begin thinking in terms of reopening the casa's doors to at least a limited number of guests. Guests need to eat. Prior to COVID, the day-to-day operation of the casa was largely made possible by volunteers from St. Julie Billiart and a number of other parishes around the community. Today, we are beginning to rebuild those volunteer organizations. We need people to help us fund the casa's day-to-day operation before Casa de Clara can really fulfill Dorothy Day's original vision of a house of hospitality here in Silicon Valley. Ashley Walker manages Casa de Clara for the Catholic Worker Movement, and we asked her to tell us what's happening there now.
Right now, this house provides hospitality to a family seeking asylum from Venezuela. They walked through 7 countries to get here, from Venezuela to Mexico and then across the border in Texas.
How long have they been here?
They've been here since January. They are a family of mom and dad and 3 children, and they're 3 boys, and their ages 18, 12, and 10.
How would you describe them?
They're a lovely family, and they teach me every day how they're not much different than anyone I know here in the States.
So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do at the Casa. What's your mission? What are you trying to accomplish there?
My mission, as I think about the work at Casa de Clara on a daily basis, is stability and sustainability, and not only for me and this community, but also for this family. And it's the reason why I want to do the work, creating security and stability for families like the family that we are serving now.
Can you give us some examples of what you mean by that stability?
Since they have been with us since January, they have received their work permits and they have social security numbers. One of their barriers is employment, and it's heartbreaking because they don't speak much English, and their country collapsed. So their work history has gaps in it, which also employers want steady work history. And it's disconcerting sometimes because you see this family and how hard they work, because the husband has been working manual labor jobs. Work that I would describe as pushing a rock up a hill, just really hard work. And recently his employer said he was not going to pay him after he worked for 2 weeks.
That's horrible. So what is their number one objective? What is it that they would like to achieve more than anything else?
Steady employment. Finding that, it would be huge for this family. And security and sustainability. And then it connects back to the work that I want to do, that the worker and the history of this Catholic Worker House. Because when Dorothy Day and Peter Morin started the Catholic Worker in 1933, it was started in New York City with the idea of we're going to create a new world in the shell of the old, and to create a life where it's easier to be good. And those are such a beautiful thought process. And it is the reason why I came out to San Jose, California from Mobile, Alabama with my 2 children, is because I wanted to create a life where it's easier to be good and live in a community that not only serves others, but is able to work collaboratively together to solve problems and to really work the works of mercy, and not just as a task, but as something that we are innately encouraged to do as thinking people.
So your work with Casa de Clara, is that important to you?
My desire for the Casa de Clara is to create a community where it's thriving and flourishing and where there's truly a phoenix, because the work is so needed. And the work is so important because this family that we are serving now, we've celebrated birthdays. We've eaten good meals together. We are conquering the food insecurity that they have formerly faced. All children are in school and going to school regularly. We are set up with an English tutor once a week, and we are learning English and learning Spanish, and it's just a really immersive lifestyle. And it's truly beautiful.
So, Ashley, what have you gotten out of this? What's your benefit been?
Their story makes the work even more profound and more personal for me, because the mother wants the same thing that I want for my children. She wants them to be happy, fed, successful, and be able to thrive. And those are the same things I want for my children as well. And I just hope that we can resurrect a community to support this place.